Oh look, I've got the radio on because I'm ill prepared. Welcome, we're back with another man in the van, courtesy of the guys at Holeshot Motorhomes. I better get their logo on there, look, covered it up. And of course the guys at FXR. Listen, if I look a bit red in the gills, it's because I am, because I've just been riding for the first time properly in a little while. Yeah. I'm here at this gentleman's track. I may introduce Mr. Lee Tolan, owner of ASA United Gas Gas. It took me one whole meeting to get that right.
You're not the only one.
We're here at Mill Lane. So Lee, I thought you'd be a great person to get in the van because...
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Mainly because of, well, what you're doing. You know, you're obviously a massive fan of the sport, but what I like about it is you're really putting back. You're in a position to put back. A lot of people would go, too much effort, too much ag, running a race team and a track and running a successful business. So like, for you, is it a degree of escapism? I mean, it must be, because you don't have to do it. You don't have to spend all that money on a team and track, but clearly you love it.
Yeah, I mean, it started off with, you know, when I was younger, I got in myself, you know, drinking habit and whatnot. And to be honest with you, I gave up drinking at the age of 31. And I always loved motorbikes as a kid. And we never had the money for it, you know. Like, I didn't know there was a world where you know, everyone, you had to have a van and you go here and you go there. I know, as silly as it sounds, we just didn't have that around us to be able to achieve anything like that. So I didn't know much about it. All I knew was that I was so buzzed when I see motorbikes, and my dad did eventually manage to be able to afford to buy me one. And I'll always remember it. It was a YZ80, and it was
yeah, good show.
And it had an orange seat. And I remember everyone saying, "What the hell, you know what?" And I just thought, "I love it. It's the one. I love it." You know, and I had an orange seat. I remember, and I used to ride it over the woods. You know, and I was just like buzzing. You know what I mean? And,
yeah, I do know what you mean.
And that buzz that I had just by being around motorbikes and the sound of it and all that, always stayed with me. And then I went through my life, and I.
So when did the bike then? So the bike was, at what age was you when your dad, when you first had your first motorbike?
11, something like that.
And you'd never been to a motocross event up to that point?
No, never.
So what? How did it come about? Why did your dad suddenly buy you a motorbike?
Well,
if you'd never been to an event.
I honestly can't remember how I was infatuated with it, to be honest with you. But it happened nonetheless. And you know, that buzz always stayed with me. And then, you know, going back to when I stopped drinking and stuff like that, a friend of mine that I used to ride with when we was kids, he was a child, you know, went to school with him. He was into motocross, and I see him, and he said, you know, I'm riding motocross now. I go to Golden Barn, you know, I've got a Honda 125. This is what I do. And then he sort of gave me like, you need a van, and I was like, I ain't got a van. I need to get a van. So then, you know, and he just gave me the rough idea of what I needed to do. And then I went off again, and I bought I managed to get got the credit cards out. You know, I didn't have no money. You know, I just was a scaffolder. You know. So
what age were you at this then? In your 30s at this point?
30, yeah. 30.
So you had a bike when you were a kid.
Yeah.
You rode for what?
Just
for fun.
I think I'd got chased by the police so many times that if I even brought the bike out, I'd get, you know. So my dad said that was, you know, that's got to go.
So that was short-lived. So what was that like? What was that, like a year?
Yeah, something like that. It was more in bits than it was ever, because we just didn't know anything about changing air filters, oil changes. We ran into the ground, you know.
Yeah, and then that was it. Then there was no involvement with bikes whatsoever. Up to your 30s.
Not even. I used to watch the AMA, you know, on the telly, and remember sitting there feeling really excited. I don't, you know, not many people that I know apart from the circle of people I've got now used to get as excited about motorbikes as I did. I used to just wet myself.
No, listen, Pat, I relate to that big time. I remember rushing home from school, wanting to watch AMA, record it on the old VHS, and just wore the recorder. In the end, it got, you know, it's like you watch something too much on VHS, it wears out.
Lines and stuff. Yeah. So, and then, you know, being a scaffolder, I made the jump to sort of like getting my own company. I was working at the weekends for myself, and you know, and then I built up enough customers, and then I got brave enough. I said, right, that's it, I'm going for it, and I just made the jump. My mother-in-law lent me a few quid to buy a lorry and stuff, and like I just put everything that I had into it, and like I look back in like 2 or 3 years later, and I've got like 3 lorries, and like it was just really big. I've got a big British Gas contract, what was doing a load of solar panels at the time. And they gave me like £1 million worth of work, and I just worked every day.
And that was it.
And that was it. And you know, I just managed to, you know, put my money away, and then my company was born, and I'd been riding for a little while by then, just like, you know, whenever I could, and you know, everyone knows I used to sponsor Roy.
Yeah.
Roy Emerson was a good friend of mine. This is a good friend of mine. I ain't seen him for ages.
No, I haven't seen Roy. Roy, if you're still watching things like this, I do see him pop up on Facebook once in a while.
Yeah.
Be good to see Roy back at a race.
Yeah.
Because he's always colourful.
Like he's a cracker, mate.
Yeah.
I love him, mate.
Yeah, top man.
Yeah. I used to go. So one of my neighbours done a bit of work near his house, and he went, "There's a geezer up at such and such." Like, he is like a proper factory team. He's this, that, and the other. You've got to come up and meet him. And I was like, take me to this geezer's house.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Roy.
Yeah.
I was trying to flog him wheels for a YZ125. Can you believe it? And I remember him laughing his head off. I was up there.
He did.
I had a cheese cutter on, and he was like,
I bet he did.
He just took a shine to me, and then before I knew it, I was up there all the time, and
Yeah.
you know, and all that sort of stuff. And then, do you know what? It just happened. You know, I was a rider. I wanted to be. I wanted to sponsor Roy, because I loved it, and I wanted to go there. And like, obviously, my son's name is ASA.
Yeah.
And when I go to a meeting, now I'm part of it. I'm in there with Roy. I get on really well with him. We had Christian Watley, Brad Anderson. You know, before that, who was it? What was his name? He used to ride for him.
Was you still around when he had, what was the Canadian guy he had riding for?
Yeah, he had Ben LeMay.
Ben LeMay rode, didn't he, for a while?
Ben
for him,
LeMay,
and had a good year.
yeah.
Won the MX National, I think.
Yeah.
Right,
He had. I've forgotten the name of the rider that he had. I see it come up on Facebook the other day. Funny enough, he used to live up Wales. What was his name?
Oh, Mark Jones.
Was
it Jonesy?
No,
Jonesy ride for him?
I think he did, but that was before my time.
God, you're testing my memory now, Lee. I'm terrible.
He rode when Brad rode with him. His name is sodding hell.
Anyway, anybody watching, you can just leave a comment below, because you obviously know we don't.
Yeah.
It'll jump in our head the minute we finish this interview.
So you know, so I was involved with that and meeting these guys and getting. It's sort of like, when I look back at it, it was like a foot in the door, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I was getting involved, starting to get, you know, got to meet Brad, you know, fucking all these people that I just looked at in awe, like, fucking. So I knew how hard it is to ride a motorbike. I still know how hard it is to ride a motorbike. You know?
After today, mate, so do I. Jesus Christ.
And you know, I'm like, I don't know how many years
I'm still suffering now.
I think I'm 15 years in the game now, and I still fucking struggle all the time with it. And you get a little bit better, and then you go a bit backwards, and you go a bit, you know, I mean, there's so much to it. So meeting people like Brad and you know, all these guys that were like idols to me, really, because I knew how hard it was. I just wanted to be like them.
Yeah.
You know, and so being a part of Roy was where it started. And you know, as my company got a bit more successful, I was in the driving seat a bit more, and then, you know, it was always crossed my mind, but I'm like, you know,
that's what I was going to ask you. So the minute you started doing stuff with Roy, was the seed already planted in your head that one day you wouldn't mind doing it?
Yeah,
yourself.
Yeah,
that was already there.
Because Roy educated me a lot.
I bet he did. Because let's be honest, he knows every shortcut and there's every pitfall there's ever going to be.
Yeah, and I used to sit down with Roy, and he'd take time out. We'd go to the cafe all the time. I'd pick his brains. He'd tell me stuff. I'd learn stuff. I'd watch stuff. But even though you can learn it, you've got to try and make that stuff a reality. You know, you need someone to have the team. You need mechanics. You know, there's 30 grand, 25 grand salaries attached to that.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, and then a rider, you know, they're going to want to ride. There's loads of variables. You know, you're a new team, and someone wants to ride. You know, you want to do it to win, didn't you? Really?
Yeah,
that was the goal. So to try and get someone that could win, and so all of that stuff, it was always swimming around in my head, but couldn't really make it a reality. And then the two-stroke thing come along, like in the British Championship, and Lewis Trickett, I love the way that dude rides, and I get on really well with him.
Well, we both do, Lou. Your little toe rag. Yeah, we both worked with him at some point, didn't we?
Oh man,
he's a top
love
boy.
Lewis. Do you know what? He's a wasted talent, man. That's what that kid is, because that boy is so stylish on a motorbike. Yeah. And anyway, so he was sort of like coming out of retirement, couldn't really get a ride, you know, had some back injuries and whatnot. And like me and Lou was together, and I was like, I've got a 265 Honda, tricked that up, got Mark Eastwood, he helped me out a lot with that bike. We tricked it, the nines.
Yeah, I remember it.
Tricked it up. I still got it.
Yeah, have you?
I sold one of them, but I've still got one. Tricked it up. And Lou was just like, a gangster on a
he was
two-stroke,
good.
mate. He used to ride that bike, and I spent a lot of time with Lewis, and he went and rode that, and he wasn't that fit. We knew this, but when he done it, and he was just trying to get used to the bike and whatnot, and this two-bob team that I was at the beginning, because he was still learning and whatnot, and
I wouldn't say two bob.
well, at the beginning we had some major stuff go wrong in the beginning.
But then that's anything. You can only gain experience by mistakes, and that's how you can't do it any other way.
Yeah, but
Can you really?
nah, but that's where I try to always be better, and I hate it when we don't do things right, especially when you're trying to help someone, and sometimes it backfires on you, and you end up doing the opposite.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You end up hindering them. So
No, I totally get that.
I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be that guy who's spoiling someone's future or something like that. So anyways, it started off with Lou. We done that. We had a wicked time. Lou rode well. I think he got podiums like
That's right,
enough every time he rode. He got a bit tired in some of them, but it doesn't matter. And then that was where it all started for me. And then Graham Irwin's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And
that's when, for me, that's when it rooted as a real professional team. What you were doing with Lou and that was polished. Obviously the bikes looked amazing, and I'd say he was more like a clearly like just a smaller team. Great to have. We all need teams like that in the paddock to make the thing, but then that's where you kind of cut your teeth a bit, knew what you was doing, and then once you started working with Graham, that's when it sort of the first signs of what it is become now, and that's when you almost became like a proper professional. And
the way that I visualised it when me and Graham got a deal together was not the way that it ended up, but that was all good for me for learning. Even though, if you ask me honestly, I didn't want to do it the way we did it, but when I look back on it now, I learned a lot from it, from being in an uncomfortable situation of what I didn't want to be in, and I just learned so much from it, and I don't know if, well, obviously everyone knows, but nobody really knows how it went down. So me and Graham, we got a deal together, and we was just like, we don't know how we're gonna do it. He just won the British Championship on a Honda, and it was like, the first thing was, what can we try and get Hondas? Honda wasn't interested. Like we didn't want to step on anyone's toes. Like Dave was.
Totally. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so like, okay, and then we spoke to JK at the time, Clinton, and we was like going to collaborate, because Graham really wanted to do GPs. I was like, Graham, mate, come on, like I want to do something with you, but like GPs, this is like I'm jumping in the deep end without not knowing how to swim. I said I don't want to let you down in any way, shape or form. So it was like, well, I'll tell you what we can do is I will run the British Championship side of things. We'll try and get a deal with Clinton or whoever it may be at the time, because this idea come into play, and they would maybe get us the deal for the bikes. He would ride for them for the GPs in their rig, and then in my rig, same sponsors, you know what I mean, try not to conflict of interest in any way, shape or form. We use same tyres and things like that, and everyone like that. It sounds crazy now when you say it, because it was never going to work, but at the time everyone was thinking it could work. So we went to
like most things, you don't know until you try.
That's right. So we went to try and do that, and for one reason or another it didn't work out, and we didn't go to JK, and then Graham was speaking to Roger, and Roger said like the deal that we was hoping to get, they'd give us bikes, we'd get their contacts, I'd put the money in, pay Graham's wages. I just bought my new truck that we're still driving now. We got the rig, we got the thing, we had a mechanic. It was like, right, let's, we're halfway there. Anything that pops up, I've got a bit of money, I'll make sure that I'm just gonna have to be ready to bite the bullet if something pops up. So off we went. Roger was KCM at the time, met Matt Walker and everything, and it all went okay. And then, but then it got a little bit like Conrad was there as well on the team, which was a pucker experience, because like he was sick, It was another moment when I was like, yeah, man, Conrad Muse is on the team.
I love the fact that you get like get that infused about it.
So it was great, but then I was like adamant, this is, we're going to do it my way, in my truck, and I kind of sort of like took like a stance that I was, because I just was so passionate that I wanted it to be mine, but at the same time I felt like it was going to be looked at as Roger's. And that was where
totally
you see my passion.
Totally understandable.
And
I get that.
And everyone did look at it as Roger's, and it was like, I knew this was going to happen, and it got me angry, because I thought I really want it to be mine, and I want it to, you know, I wanted it to be known as mine and my effort, and like, you know, whether it be the master of disaster what I've created, or whether it be like,
look, he's expecting me to get me out, sort of off, mate. Stu Hayward trying to get me out on track. I'm done.
Yeah,
no, and he just says, so I can understand why it's like that.
Yeah, so all of that learning and sort of stuff, and like, no disrespect to Roger and all those guys, they know what they're doing, they've been doing it for years, and I was just a scaffolder that's got an idea and wanted to have a team, and I, you know, but I was adamant I was going to make it work. But so that route wasn't how I was, how I saw it, but it was the best way.
But you learned a lot from doing that, wouldn't you? You learned a lot about what's required from yourself.
Yeah, what we had to do with the training.
Yeah, exactly, everything. Yeah.
And you know, they're a great team, and you know, at the time Jamie Dobb was there. He was very helpful to me. And I met, you know, another thing, you know, I'm standing there talking to a world champion. Like, I used to watch Jamie Dobb in 2002. Like, I remember watching him thinking, this geezer's sick. He's like English as well. Like, you know, flipping out. Like, and now all of a sudden I'm working with him. So honestly,
I love the fact that you get so, like, still you're saying it like, so that's your enthusiasm, your fan.
Coming out. I'm a fan of the sport.
That's what I mean. Well, you have to be to do what you do. Before we carry on where you're at with the team, I've got to ask you this while it's in my memory. Before it goes, how have you found the differences between running a business, a successful scaffolding business, and running a team? You know, they both got to be treated as businesses, I imagine, but surely, like, I bet there's different kind of politics and pitfalls running a team than there is in everyday business. What do you, is one easier than the other, or are they both equally as stressful, or is the motocross like your escape? Does it cause you stress?
Yes.
But
that's where I'm like wanting everything to be perfect, and we don't live in that world, and that's issues that I have with trying to make everything right. And you know, when I look at it, the ludicrousy of it, you go into a muddy field, you know, you're going to get muddy, everything's going to get dirty, it's going to be this way, but it just fucking pisses me off when it all gets done. But you are so professional. No, that's all right. We're perfectly, we're adults, we can swear. But I love that professionalism. You know, is it professionalism? Is it bordering on OCD? Because, and I'm not pulling you out on that, because I've been past your setup before, seen the guys out with a bloody regular Hoover, but not just once, like 2 or 3 times in a day. Well, that comes, which is amazing, because that's putting back to all the sponsors. You know, do you think we need that level of professionalism? I mean, like, you know, people have put their hand in their pocket for me, and you know, it is a lot of things. It's like, it comes from my business, so we have to support whatever it is that's funding or helping us to achieve what we're going to achieve. So, and you know, I know from young that when you look after things, it catches people's eyes. You know, people would want to work with you, because like that opens so many other doors with riders, with sponsors, you know, all of the like, because they run a professional outfit. When I go past factory Honda or I go past factory KTM, my eyes are everywhere. I'm like, how can we do things better? But then it goes back to practicality. You know, everything that they do, you now need a bigger lorry to do that. You know, it takes longer to load, you now need more. So everything I've looked into, we're where we are with what we think we can achieve without causing us loads of unnecessary aggro to go to a one-day meeting. You know?
No, obviously we've had all that this year.
To go to a one day, and that for me, I'd like to be there for 4 days. You know, I know that's not possible, but
no,
in
but
my idea,
so you go there,
you know,
so you can put the full setup up, the full awning, and all that. So balancing the books. You know, do you feel in the first number of years since you started it, any moments where looking back you have got carried away and thought, Jesus, why did I spent too much money there, I did that? And any thing, or do you class that all as a bit of a learning thing?
No, I look around. I always do my own work. I mean, don't get me wrong, I make some rash decisions off the cuff, but if it sits right with me intuition, like, boom, it's gone. Like, you know, just listen to yourself sometimes. But you know, I just try and look at where people have struggled. I ask questions, you know. I speak to people like Steve Dixon, and they tell me stuff, and you know, and then I might have my own opinion on it, and then, you know, if I try and execute something, I go, oh, right, you know. It's just going back to people that have done it, been there, seen it, done it, and are doing it, and have been down all the roads, I ask those people questions because they are the people that I need to.
And so most of them have been pretty receptive, willing to help you. How have you found the sport? You know, because you've come into the sport late. So you know, is that something else that makes you passionate about it? The people, you know, obviously there's always going to be slight different opinions with everybody. That's just human nature. But on a whole, do you think most people in the sport, particularly in the British fraternity, paddock, whatever, have been receptive and helpful to you and want you to succeed?
Yeah, sometimes I think, like, you know, Lee Tolan, before I did motocross, I was a different person, and I behaved in a different way, and I think some people were probably wary of me because they didn't know me, and I think I gave that look of don't blame him really, but like, this is my home, and where I come from is helped me to drop that other face, you know, these masks that you put on, you know, growing up and whatnot. So like, this is my home, and that when people actually get to know me, you know,
it's been a leveler really. Then it's made you, but basically, motocross has made you a better human being.
100%, like the person I've always wanted to be. But in answer to your question,
is that because it literally the focus of trying to achieve what you achieve?
No, I'm growing as a person,
you know,
Jeff. To be honest, like, you know, like, I've got lots of defects, had lots of defects, but I'm really in tune with myself, and I want to be better. And like, you know, like, if you ain't growing, you're dying. And I just want to grow all the time. And if you see me next year, hopefully I've changed and you can notice it, because I'm trying to work on myself in every area. But motocross and giving and being selfless and humble and all these things, you can't get when you're trying to, you know, you just got to be in that environment. I mean, I ain't giving things away and going, oh, here you go, I'm doing a selfless act. I'm just trying to be involved in something, you know, like Bobby, that is going to help someone like him reach the potential, and if I could do that, that'd give me so much pleasure in my life.
You know? Let's talk about that, because you caught me off guard a little bit.
Sorry.
At the British GP, we were talking, or it could have been before that. You know, and you openly sort of said that we're you know, no, it was Bobby caught me off guard when we had him here in Man in the Van.
Oh, right.
He basically said, no, look, you know, I've been speaking to Lee, we're already making plans for next year.
EMX,
to go EMX 250, and straight away I thought, do you know what, that's awesome, British team, you know, and the fact that you're already thinking that. So how's all that going? You know, it's obviously great that you're thinking about it and you're a year ahead, because again, that's something that you don't just rock up, like wait for the season to finish and then be prepared for next year's grant, like EMX. So how's the wheels going with that?
I mean, like I'm the man that is in the front that everyone calls the team owner, but like, there's lots of people behind it, you know. Shout out to Craig from Depp. You know, all the guys, everyone is, because they've been in it for years, and although I'm prepared to go with a journey, like, you know, when you start going abroad and you start booking for that and this and that sort of stuff, I ain't got no experience in it, and you know, I could end up causing us more problems than anything. You know, so Craig's been involved massively, you know, and so how are we getting on? Well, basically it's just like, you know, at this moment in time, it's like we're committed, we're going to do it, whatever, how it unfolds with where we're going to race, where we're going to go, all of that would just be a problem as we you know, as we figure it out. The
point is, you've committed to it, you're making a plan, Bobby's signed up, you're going for it, all the I wouldn't say incidental stuff, but the bikes, the equipment is like a second phase, isn't it? The first thing is committing to it and saying, right, we're doing it, because then you can plan. We're doing it
regardless of what help we get. You know, I've never been one that, you know, if we get help, great, but I can't ask people for nothing. I've struggled with that stuff. I'm doing it for me, and like, you know, we're talking about Jamie Dobb, Brad Anderson, all these people that were my heroes when you know, being involved. I want to be a part of making that someone's dream a reality. You know.
Yeah, totally. That's just awesome. That's, you know.
You know, for me, it will just be like, oh, man, I've done something.
I think it's a noble thing. I think not enough people do it in society in general, and in our sport. There is still a lot of people that want to take. You know, and like I said, putting back is a big part of it. That I certainly feel like that. You know, with some of the things that I've done. You know, like starting new events now. Listen, those events aren't. I'm not going to buy a 2 million mansion and you know, 5 years time and walk away from the sport because the events barely wash their face. You know, but the point is, we're doing it because we want to put something back into the sport. And it seems like
Yeah.
That's the driving force for what you do.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel like I've bit off more than I can chew, because, you know, I'm going to go back to a question that you said to me earlier, like, you know, what's the comparison between running a scaffolding firm, a track, and a team? Like, my company earns, you know, between 1.5 and 2.5 million pound a year, and it don't give me nowhere near as much stress as what running a team does. And that's the comparison.
Yeah.
Like, and it takes up all my time. You're trying to think ahead. You're trying to be 3 steps ahead of something, and you know, and it's so hard to plan, you know, and all of that does mess with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I need to know what I'm doing. I need to know how much money I've got to have for that. I've got to do this. Got to do that. Where we're going to go, you know. And
I guess because it's a sport, there's that unknown factor. Listen, one of your guys, one of your scaffolders could fall off a scaffolding, break his arm, break his leg, be out of action for 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
But in all intents purposes, you'll be able to find another scaffolder to do his work, maybe not as good as him. When you're running a race team and you're committing to a rider and that rider gets injured, it's not so easy, is it, to just suddenly put another bum on the seat? And all those little things you have to consider.
Jeff, do you know what, right, I don't know what people on the outside think about, like, having a team. Like, obviously it's a dream, and for me, you know, when we've got, you have a team and that, but like, the connection with the rider has to be everything. It's like being in a cab with someone and going up wherever along a long journey and not liking the person, but you're paying for the fare. You know what I mean? Like,
I do, yeah, like, very much.
Like, because, like,
we've all been there.
I really hate being in this situation, because I want to do what I'm doing, and I'm sitting here saying, you know, like, I want to do something special and all that. But I feel so bad when people ask me for a ride, they ring me up and that, and, you know, or they send me messages, and like, it's so hard, because
there's two things. A, you can't help everybody, and secondly, it's got to be a right fit, like you said, class of personalities. I can genuinely say that after 10 years of running Team Green and my own team before that, you know, there's been people come up to me and ask about, you know, either them riding on the squad or their kid, and whatever, you know, and then you go away and digest it all, and you just think, you know, it's not going to work. There's you can tell if there's going to be personality clashes and all that. So it's not straightforward. It's not, you can't just go around helping everybody. Although you want to.
I do want to. Like, if I could help someone with a free ride or a tyre or something like that, I like to help. But, like, at the same time, I ain't like bloody Mr. Rothschilds, am I? Do you know what I mean? And you can't, because you've got a target on your back.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
You can't be a martyr to the cause. You know, I often think that. You know, and not on the same level as you running a high-end team, but I've similar with the commitments that I commit to doing the commentary, the MX Nationals, Team Green, Dirt Hub, all these things. But I love it, and there lies the crux of the problem. Like you said, you've put a load of extra stress on your life that you didn't really need to do. And you openly sat here and admit it, but you wouldn't, even though you're saying it, you wouldn't have it any other way.
No, see, the game is to try and make your stress less. Like, you've got to identify that there is a problem, and then we can work on the solution to the problem. So I identify that most of my stress is of my own making. And like, if I can be better and save myself from being stressful, then obviously, like, we're back in the game. Like, but I'm still, you know, I'm a man of my word. Whatever I say I'm going to do, and all that sort of stuff. But like I said to you, I'm just trying to figure me out, you know, as I get older, you know, and just all these things that, like, you know, that make you grow as a person. And I need to do some fucking growing up at times. You know what I mean?
I think people don't do too much. You got to keep a little degree of youth exuberance around. Just iron out the mistakes. That comes with experience.
So as a package for me, this is not just what you see at the end of it is a team, and, you know, but for me, this is a process, and I'm using it as a guidance to help me and myself. So, you know, I can help someone else, can help myself back, you know, being a better person around frustrating times, you know, because you can fucking lose your shit pretty quick in this game. You know what I mean?
Can't you?
Poor old Linus has copped the wrong side of me a few times.
He loves it. Where is he? He's out there doing something. You got him working on the track. Let's talk about the track, because this is the first time I've ridden it today. And we're talking about Mill Lane, bring you up to speed. Lee now runs the Mill Lane circuit. I didn't know it'd been as long as it had. First time I've ridden it today. First time I've ridden properly in quite a while. Got a lovely circuit, great dirt, super technical. It took me ages to learn the track. But yeah, I mean, what the team's one thing. What about running a race circuit? Because not a race circuit, a track. Now I'm going to bring this up because this is really important to me. I feel quite passionate about it. You know, we're trying to build the sport, the level of professionalism that you bring to it with the team, trying to raise the bar. get it more commercial savvy, more appealing to people that don't know about it, that might come along and think, oh, I want to take that up. Practice tracks in the UK are becoming harder to find, scarce. Exactly. You know, how hard is it to manage a track and also educate people coming here about how to behave and all that? Because still we seem to have a lot of people in the sport that just think they take it for granted, basically.
You got people turning up here in Adidas boots, going out with no gloves and all, you know, goggles on back to front, you know, you name it. It's quite funny at times, but you think, bloody hell, like, you got to take this sport seriously. Like the old general public malarkey, I'm getting better at. I used to look, like, like I was the guy that used to ride in the paddock. You know, I was that guy. If I could sneak a ride through the paddock, mate, no one could see me. I was doing it, and like I'm very aware of that. Every time I shout across the paddock, get off your bike.
I've seen you doing that.
But I've tried to just, like, you know what I mean, like, but what people don't understand is that if you've got your nice sponsored
Holeshot Motorhomes, good plug, well done. You got another plug-in,
right? You're sat here, man in the van with me, and this mush over here has been told all day to stop riding in it, right? And he just whiskies it into the side of your motor. Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to do that, but you have been fucking told all day long, like, not to ride in the paddock, and he does that. Who do you go to for insurance? You know what I mean? Like, where do you go? So me having a business and being liable for everything that I do, and I'm very fully aware of the risks I take in business, they're coming to me. You're coming to me.
Totally.
And you ain't going to care that that I've told him 3 times. And so that shit runs through my brain every time I do it. But sometimes I fucking go a bit over the top with it. But I'm getting better at that. And I just, you know, I think people don't like to be spoke to. When they get shouted at, you know, your back gets up straight away. So now I just casually walk over and say, look, mate.
But again, it's the rider, isn't it? Eventually being educated more from coming more regularly, learning the rules. We were talking, because by the way, right in front of us, you can't see, Dylan Woodcock's been with us today and been riding. He's loading up his van. We were talking about how Dylan's matured back in the day, Team Green. He'd be that, you know, just because who he is when he was younger, would think, oh, I'm just, because he's a little bit rebellious, thinking, oh, I'm just going to ride through the pits. And now, as you get older, mature, today, obviously, yes, he's a pro rider, but again,
still riding through the pits.
Still riding. Yeah, he probably was actually. I did see him
always fucking ride through the pits.
I did see him get off and push it a couple of times.
Yeah,
maybe he got tired towards it. That's because you weren't watching him.
You felt the eyes on him.
Yeah, that's why. But no, it's not easy, is it? You know, and we're trying to keep elevating the sport. So running the track, then, regardless of on the pecking order, does that just sort of slide into what you're doing with the team?
100%.
It's not like a separate thing.
No, it's just like for like, it's mad how my life has ended up. You know, and I believe that everything happens for a reason. You know, believe it or not, where my company is based, the road that it's on is Mill Lane.
Is that right?
Yeah, this road is Mill Lane. You know. So in my head, when I first started, I was like, right, I need a race truck, I need a mechanic, I need a decent bloody rider. And wouldn't it be great if I had a fucking track and all? Right?
But it's true though. You could go testing on and do all that and whatever.
That's how my brain went. And everything happened in sequence. Like, and it just went dush like that. And I just went, yep, I'll have that, I'll have this, I'll have that. And then me being me, I wanted to elevate the tracks and God knows what. Got Alfie.
But you say it happens in sequence, but then it does, but you also have gone out and got it. That hasn't
intuition
fallen on your lap, has it? You've worked for that.
No, it has. Listen, it's been tough, and it has started to catch up with me the last year or so, because I try to ride as well. I want to be better at riding. If I didn't have that, I think I could manage everything better.
Fair play with the riding, because you do
train and ride.
Because you do get stuck in. You know, obviously I commentate on your races at the MX Nationals, and I can tell how, like, you got the race team going on, and as you've explained, that's a massive thing for you. You know, you're giving back and you feel a fan, but you're really serious about your racing. I watched that the weekend. You know, you constantly want to try and evolve, get the bike set up right. You know, you're not a pro rider, but you absolutely behave like one though, regards of trying to get everything out of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, everything's.
You don't just go, like, oh, I went out, I didn't have a bad race. I can tell from the outside looking in, you're like, well, why did I have a bad race? What can we do to improve that? You know?
Yeah.
So it must be your character.
Yeah, definitely. I want to always do things better. I mean, like sometimes you can overthink things, and like, you know, I wish I was that guy that just said, you know, it's the bike or it's the track, and just left it and just rolled around. But I am competitive in everything I want to do, and I sometimes ride and I'm going round and I'm thinking, I'm not using my energy. I'm not able to put the power down to the way that I know I can, and I'm riding around thinking, right, you know, I've got quite a good feeling on the suspension or whatever, and we could time going wrong, and I can tell that I can't give it my maximum because of the bike, and then I'll change it. And you know, Linus and, you know, a lot of people that have been around me with this stuff, because I'm very aware that, you know, bad workman blames his tools and that, and I'm like sitting here thinking, oh fucking hell, man, is it really me? I'm looking at myself all the time. I'm looking at everything. And I bet
you've probably tried it earlier on. I bet you've had staff at work come in and blame something else.
I always look at stuff, but like, I've had like Cole from Cass Suspension, who is my dear friend and it helps me out massively. I'll call him up and tell him exactly what the bike's doing. He will tell me what to do, and I can go, you know, 5 to 10 seconds faster. Yeah. So that's proof in the pudding. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, because I am obviously a late rider, and I've coming into this game, I've hurt myself quite a few times. I was just right and really quickly learned that you don't do that in that sort of place, and when it's wet and this, that, and the other. So now, if I don't feel comfortable, I won't push it. So like, but sometimes you can get too in tune with it, and you know, today I've had an off day. I rode the first moto, felt amazing. I was a bit tired this morning, a little bit like it's catching up with me, and I just said, you know, I'm putting my bike away because I'm not going to ride to my best attention. I'll start looking at the bike and everything like that. And it's not the bike. I know it's not the bike. I know today I am tired. Yeah. So I just put it away. But
from experience,
I just want to be better at what I do, and like, that's all it is. I'll probably miss the boat, but I am getting a little bit better. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then what is missing the boat? You know, for getting an end result, an end game saying you achieved that, but that you've done so much that you obviously could and should be proud of, you know. And like I said, putting back into the sport, what's anybody going to leave? I kind of agree with what you're saying. Well, I do not kind of, I absolutely agree with what you're saying. When we said about all our events, like the Steelhawk thing and everything, it's like, this sounds really corny, but it's like you want to, when I park up the boots and sort of stop coming to motocross events, which I don't think that'll ever be, but if I want to go, right, that was good. I started off as a rider, went my way through, become a magazine editor, did this, did commentary, hosted an arena cross event. You know, you want to feel like you've left something, and not only that, put something back,
participate,
and you're absolutely doing that. I mean, literally, I've ridden a track today because you know, had the initiative to get hold of it and turn it into a decent facility. Yeah, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it helps. It helps. Everything is.
We've all been here. Cullen, Dylan. You know,
they all love it.
They've all had a good day.
They all love it. I mean,
and for that, you should be like really proud of that.
I am proud. I am proud of it. I mean, like, you know, we've got Ashley down here, Ashley and Dave down here, like 6 days a week. You know, they put a lot of effort into it. Obviously, I've got my say on what I want it, and this, that, and the other. But we're a team. All of us are a team. I can't do none of this without all the people around me. Yeah. And everyone has to be aware of that. Whoever's in charge. And they all put a lot. They commit to me. You know, 6 days a week. Sometimes Ashley says, I want to go, you know, on my bike this week, and I go, oh, flipping hell, you know, and he'll come in and that. So all these guys, like all Ashley, Dave, Linus, they give up their weekends all the time to make this a good facility. But I've got the ideas. I'll say, let's do it there. I'll put the money and I'll buy the machine. Alfie A-Tracks will come here. I'll say, all right, Alf, this is what we're doing. He'll try and put some. Alfie will know. Alfie's great at what he does, but then I'll try and look at it from a you know, from
beginner's point.
You know what I mean, like something to work to. You know, a little double, little triple, a little, you know, in the faster riders. Just, you know, so all that stuff. Everything really works. But the only thing is, Jeff, sometimes, mate, I ain't my best at everything because I've got so much going on and trying. I was just going to say that. So listen, juggling and spinning the plates. Do you ever? Now you started the team, now you do this or whatever, do you think you're ever gonna get to a stage now where you're gonna have to, with work, would you ever think you're gonna get to a stage where you're gonna go, I'm gonna have to knock the ride on the eggs, I ain't got time for it? I mean, you never want to put yourself in that position. No, I mean, like, I don't really want to have to do that, but all I think I can do is is manage it better. Like,
Yeah.
I need to just manage it better. I just need to, you know, everything's getting a bit more established as we go on. The track's been here a bit longer. We've done this. This is now getting like a constant bit of money coming in, that we can, you know, get more staff,
Yeah.
and then hopefully it can wipe its, you know, well, it's not wipe itself. It's the wrong word, but it can, like, they can run it itself.
Yeah.
And then you know, I've got Graham Ringwood, who's like my brother. He's my best friend, who runs my scaffolding firm with me. You know,
Right.
he's my contract manager. He would be there every day for me. You
Yeah.
know, bend over backwards. I can totally trust him. And then, you know, I'll be there every day as well, and I'll deal with the money side of things and all that sort. So I've got a good people around me, and it's just about growing that now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people want to join my team, whether it be the you know, the track or whatever, but everyone's so bloody far away.
Yeah.
All of my motocross friends are fucking miles away, you know. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people around there
Yeah.
who ride dirt bikes, but anyone that's ever interested in being a part of the team or it just
There
ain't,
you go.
it don't work.
No, you got to be nearby. Yeah. So anybody nearby that knows Lee and wants to get up here and work, get in touch.
Yeah.
Mate, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and I genuinely mean it.
Thank you.
I hope you stick around for a long time, because obviously, on a strictly personal and biased point of view, the sport needs people like you pushing it forward and doing what you do, you know. And the track obviously is a big thing. As I said, I really enjoyed that out of the day, even though my arms were like rock solid and Popeye.
Yeah, but you had a go, mate. You still look good.
Thank you very much. I looked good for a couple of laps and then
Yeah.
just couldn't move. But you know, it's coming back. It's coming back.
Yeah, I mean,
You're
like,
riding
you've
more.
jumped on a stock bike. You've gone out there. There's loads of jumps out there.
Yeah.
You know. Lena
Yeah.
said you looked all right.
Oh, that's all right then. As long as
You
I
got
got
the
the nod.
Linus
As long as I
approval.
got the nod from him,
Yeah.
that's sound.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we got stuff to do. You got to get ready. What's up next? Canada Heights in it for us.
Next weekend.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Next weekend.
Nice local one for you,
No,
relatively.
yeah.
In
I
that,
love it,
it's
I
a
love
joy,
it.
eh?
Yeah, we love it. I love it. Do you know what? Like, I felt sorry for everyone at the British Championship. Like, we are now at Lena's 45 minutes or whatever back
Yeah.
to the yard. We left here at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock we left.
Yeah, and you still beat most people home.
Yeah, it's still, you know,
Yeah.
it's mad, but like, this will be
Yeah.
a lot less stress.
Well, that's what you want. And like, just keep up the good work. Obviously, we know what you're doing with Bobby. We'll keep our eyes peeled to see
Yeah,
what your
Bobby's
other rider lineup's going to be for next year, and see where you go with it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
oh, and another on a personal note, thank you so much for supporting our Rocket Till Sundown event. Lee's going to be one of the class sponsors. There you go. See, all round good egg, investing into the sport.
Just do what we can, like that. You know, this track here, like I use this track. Any money that's made from this, it helps facilitate the team. You know, riders, events that we can do. Because I like to think that, you know, I get the use out of the track. I come up here, I ride all the time. You know, the team come up here. We've got the options to do that. That's enough for me. The money that comes out of it, I just try and give it to the team.
Back into the sport.
Do you know what I mean? And like, you know, little events like you, and it doesn't, you know, my company supports me.
Yeah.
This is just something we do, and if we can, you know,
no, that's cool.
I like to do that because I think that is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted. Been meaning for you, you know, to invite you into the van and do an interview for some time, because obviously I see your passion from an outside perspective, and it's good to get you in and talk about it. Yeah. So now you got to go back and do your other job now.
Yeah, I've got to go back to work now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sweating in here.
Yes, that's why I opened the window in the end. I thought we'd have the windows up so we don't hear the bikes going round, but gosh, like a proper sweat box.
Yeah.
Especially, I only did 2 motos and not even fast, and I'm starting to flake. Listen, you get back to work, sort all your scaffolders out, mate.
Nice
thanks
one,
for your
Jeff.
time.
Thanks, mate.
Mr. Lee Tolan there, another man in the van, brought to you by Holeshot Motorhomes and FXR. Right, I'll see you at Canada Heights.
Yeah.
Thanks
Cheers,
for a
mate.
good day.
All the best.
Lee's on his way back to work. We're done.